So you want a job at All American Burger. I'll see what I can do. What's your secret sauce? Ketchup and mayonnaise. Yeah, us too.
We're sorry, the number you have reached is not in service. Please check the number or try your call again. This is a recording.
All right, people. We got official spring days in here in New Mexico. Not sure you can hear it or not. The house finches have arrived on my front portal, and they're not taking no for an answer. I tried to dissuade them from nesting over the top of my TW200 and my bicycle and all my other belongings, and they don't seem to care. Nature, it gets pushy at times. And, I told them the rent was going to go up by 20%, COVID prices, and they don't seem to care. But it's spring here, and we got another picture package film for you to consume and digest. So let's get her done. Hello, friends and family. Just kidding. My family would never be on here. I don't think my family even knows I have a YouTube channel. In fact, I'm positive my family doesn't know I have a YouTube channel. They don't care. Okay, so the first installment of the picture package I thought went well. I enjoyed making it. And the response was good, because here's the thing. The front end of the photography equation is sexy, right? It's all the cameras, all the gear, all the kit. But you know what? There is so much nonsense in the YouTube photography world that's centered around that first third of the equation. It's kind of insane. It's kind of crazy, and it's boring. And really, once you get your kit settled, you should never have to think about it again. Because if that being the first third of the equation, the second third would be the actual making of the imagery, and the third would be the editing, sequencing, and design, plus the archiving of those images. The second and thirds, to me, way more interesting and way more important. But man, you're never going to get any views on this stuff, because it just doesn't have enough kit involved. But hey, you know what? The sun came up today. It's probably going to set tonight, and it might come up tomorrow. So let's move on. We are moving on to a picture package here. It is a 4-picture package. Now, I just noticed something. This monitor that I'm using to record this is an external monitor that was just sent to me by the company, and it is horrible. It is one of the worst monitors I've ever seen. I have a monitor to the left that's probably 6 years old. It's just a basic LG monitor, but it's fantastic in comparison to the new one. So I'm going to scrap this new one and just give it to my wife and let her use it for email and stuff, because I have to go buy a decent monitor. This one is definitely not cutting it. It is impossible to color calibrate this thing. And so the color, bear with me here. Part of this image is actually on. Another part of it is not. And when I look at my laptop screen, the laptop screen is way better than the external monitor, which is a tell of how bad this external monitor actually is. This was designed for someone doing email in an office. This was not designed for any kind of imaging, so I have no idea why they sent it to me. But that's what I'm stuck with. Okay. So this is a 4-picture package. Someone asked about how many images had to be in a picture package. The only reason I say 3 to 5 is that's based on the journalism world. That's based on the newspaper work that I used to do, where a picture package typically was a 3 to 5 picture package. Anytime you get upwards of that, when you start getting into bodies of work, that's no longer a picture package to me. That's a photo essay, a photo story. That's a project. That's a whole nother can of worms, okay? That's a much more complicated process where you've got to think about things like transitional images. You've got to think about linking sections of stories to another. You've got to think about putting in portfolio level images combined with informational images. That is a much more complex puzzle. We'll get to that at some point after we've mastered the picture package. Okay, this is image number 1. As far as I know, that's a red-tailed hawk. But every single hawk I look at, eventually I convince myself it's a red-tailed hawk. Whether it's a Cooper's hawk or a sharp-shinned hawk or whatever, I'm always like, or a ferruginous hawk, inevitably I go back and go, no, that's a red-tailed hawk. So what this is exactly, I don't know. I'm a horrible birder. I would give myself a D- for accuracy and an A for enthusiasm. Okay, now here's the interesting thing. That sky above, that's a typical New Mexico sky. We have the best skies in the world here. Anyone argues that, I will literally put the gloves on and duke it out with you. Best skies in the world. This actually looks pretty accurate in terms of the color of what this sky is. The bird, even though it's way too red in this frame, The bird is being hit with the last rays of kind of that early morning light. So it's weird. It's a odd combination of hot and cold, but I like this image because one, it's dramatic. I've got the perfect wing flare, and if you've ever seen a more beautiful pattern in your life, I don't know where that would be. Plus, I've got this New Mexico sky. The second frame is this. Now, this is critical because this picture package has to do with van life. I was on the hook to make a film about van life, and so this was sort of a typical van life morning. And this is a key ingredient that you have to remember. This is not a film about me out screwing around. The underlying theme of this is van life. So keep that in mind. Now, this image was made, obviously, right after sunrise. And you've got a bunch of the ingredients that I love in photography. And for those of you who don't know, let me just clue you into something. And for those of you who know me, you're sick of hearing me say this, but I'm going to say it again because it's my channel and I've got the microphone. Photography to me is pretty basic. It really is. Doesn't matter what camera you have in your hand. You should be looking for three things at all time: light, timing, and composition, in that order. The number one ingredient for me always is light. This picture 5 minutes later does not work. This picture 4 hours later doesn't work. This picture 8 hours later doesn't work. This picture 3 minutes before doesn't work. This is the sun cresting over these mountains. This is down by Carrizozo, and I'm getting a direction of light coming in here. Obviously, that's where the sun is coming up. I've also got 2 rounds of flare, which I actually love. This is a cheapy $60 manual focus lens on a Fuji X-T2. It's going to flare the second you get it anywhere near this glowing orb in the sky. And this is a cross, by the way, just in case you were wondering. Yes, I am that blessed with my photography. Anyway, I love the flare. I love shooting into the light. I've talked about that before. These are key ingredients. Obviously, time of day, the light is fantastic. I've got a nice red-orange color to it. I've got my 2 bands of flare. But really, the other key ingredient here, which is critical, is right here. This rim-lit section of the van. That is really it. Now, if I was being picky, I would even reduce the shadow detail even more, and I would give up shadow right here to make this line even more accentuated. And I'm just giving you a hint, right? This is the one hint that this is a van life piece. That's why it's important. Okay, the third shot in the sequence, or the third ingredient, this is not the order they're going to be in. That's a hint. But this is another photograph that is based almost entirely on light. Again, light, timing, composition. If you're not working in good light, why are you working? Unless you're on assignment and you have no other choice. If it's up to you as a photographer to go out, you've got to work those moments where the light is giving you the exact set of ingredients that you need. So I've got, again, a perfectly rim-lit Fuji X-T4 and 20-year-old boat anchor tripod. That's it. Oh, look at the drawing I made. I'm so artistic. That's it. This is based on light. That's all it is. Again, it's the short lens, wide open. You've got your, nice sunset back here. You've got the out-of-focus landscape. It's simple. There's a nice, simple, not exactly stellar image, but it's kind of fun. And then this, which is very important. Whoa, that was I don't know what that was. That could have been a Scud missile hitting my house. It's not my house. What do I care? This is an important ingredient. Now, you may be wondering, Milner, what is that? And why would you put it in here in this picture package? This is a 9-exposure image, handheld, that gives me a sense. It gives me a few things. Number one, gives me a sense of place. Number 2, gives me a sense of geography, topography, and landscape of where I'm working in. So if you go back to these images here, the bird, where the van is parked, where the kit is, this gives you a sense of place and landscape. Plus, it's a MILNOR multiple exposure in camera. And I've mentioned this many times before. This is a technique I've been doing now for several years. I do it pretty much all the time. Even when I'm shooting straight images, I'm always trying to acquire these in the background. Again, this wasn't a double exposure. It's actually 9 exposures in one handheld. This is mysterious. If this made you hesitate for a second, I win, because that hesitation means you're paying attention. And with photography, We are all in the game of tricking one another into paying attention to our work. Attention is the currency being traded, according to Doug Rushkoff, and I think that is a wildly accurate statement about modern culture. And you better understand that when it comes to photography, because sometimes with name recognition, if you get big enough, you will get attention simply based on your name. Some people are deserving of that, who have that, and others who have that are not deserving. It's just a game that you have to learn how to play. I certainly do not have that name recognition. I don't even want that name recognition. But this picture is enough to make someone stop for a second and question what it is, and that means I'm winning, and that's the reason I'm leaving it in. So let's take a look at a couple of possible sequences here, and then we'll see what we end up with. Sequence numero uno. Got my bird here, my hawk. But as you can see, this hawk is heading off. It's heading off out here into the white space, into the ether, into where that little TikTok UFO lives off San Diego where the Navy ships were. If you don't know that story, it's a good one. Anyway, this bird going off, picture doesn't work here. I like this here. I like it. This is mysterious. What is this? What am I looking at? Kit shot. This is definitely a left-facing photo. It's pulling in that direction. If the camera was facing in the other direction, it would be right. It's not, so it's left. And the van over here, now this is interesting. This picture can go one of two ways. I see this as a right-facing photo, but the van is also anchoring here on the left, so I could conceivably say yes, even though the sun is coming from here. The van is anchoring it and making it going this way, but my initial thought is no, this is an image that needs to anchor on the other side. So let's take a second take on this. Now, here's the thing. Like I said, this image is representative of me as a photographer. This image is mysterious. This image is a little different. But if I lead with this image, I run the risk of the person saying, what am I looking at? I have no idea. I'm out of here. So let's imagine that you can't see these three images, that these are a set of prints in a stack, and I lead with this one. A lot of people, now this can work in your favor or against you. In this particular style of photography, my guess, it will work against me. It's not giving the viewer enough information for them to dive in. So I don't like it as a lead. This is getting warmer here, this image. This image is not too bad in this position, and this baby feels like it's exactly where it should be. Again, a left-facing image. It's an anchor. It's also an offset of, if I'm thinking about color palette, you've got kind of yellow here, you've got maroonish red, blue, and you've also got that maroonish red here. And so I like that. I like the fact that this image, number one, and this image, number two, kind of similar palettes. So I need to keep that in mind when I'm making this package. Moving on. Okay. We're getting somewhere. We're getting somewhere. We're getting somewhere. This, to me, again, feels more like a right face. And it gives me the van. And again, this is a van life sequence. So, in my opinion, I have to lead with this photo. I have to. Because van life, that's the underlying theme. I can't get away from this. This is not, I don't know, clowns at the rodeo. No, there's no clown, there's no rodeo. This is about van. I've got to start with it. It just so happens, to be a right-facing image. Now, I do like the juxtaposition of this color palette and this color palette. I do. And then the mysterious photo, and then the kit. The kit's not moving. This is going to stay there. But what about this? Now, I'll tell you why. It's close. This is a close mix. But here's, again, think about these as a stack of prints. Number one, they see the van. They see the light. They see the sort of drama in this photo, right? Pretty simple photo, but looks good, sets the table. And they're like, this must be about van life. Then I hit them with an image that is representative of me as a photographer. And it's mysterious. Now what's going on? But it also gives them an idea of the topography and the landscape that I'm standing in. That's important. I'm setting the scene. I'm giving you the story here with the van. I'm setting the scene here. Then I'm giving you subject matter. I'm on a birding expedition. Yes. Again, I'm a fumbling birder. An amateur fumbling awful birder who cannot identify anything. But there it is. Now that's what I'm doing. And oh, by the way, you see the van, you see the mystery, you see the subject matter, and then, oh, you're a photographer. Yes, I'm a photographer in my van shooting mysterious images of birds with a camera. That is the picture package of the week. I think this is it. This is what I would settle on. And that, my friends, is why. Okay, I will admit I was fortunate. I went to photography school. But before you get all up in arms about not going to photo school or photo schools aren't important or whatever tangent you're on, realize I paid $300 a quarter total to go to photo school. I didn't have some vast reserve of wealth. This was not some 1%er thing. $300, all right? This was back, again, everywhere was dirt roads. There were people in wagons. You know, you had to cook your food over a campfire. This was not a sophisticated time. But what photo school allowed me to do was get a basic understanding of photography itself. Didn't teach me how to be a photographer. I had to learn that afterwards, thanks to a lot of other photographers who helped me out. But when I started in the newspaper world was the ultimate picture package training ground because every day you were on assignment. And if you go on assignment every day for 365 days straight, which I did basically, and you go out and you shoot and you have to come back to a paper, make an edit, and encapsulate a story in a single image, you get good at it relatively quickly. And also when you were editing for that single image, you were also in the back of your head saying, well, I'm going to edit a second and third image, maybe a fourth image too, in case I get lucky. Maybe somebody screws up and section front's open for whatever reason, and they go, hey, do you have anything else? And you go, absolutely, it's right here. I got a picture package for you. Or the pictures were so good for whatever reason that they found space, they made space for that picture package. Again, if you are editing picture packages 365 days in a row, under deadline, under pressure, with a boss like yap, 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 yap in your face, anytime you did something wrong, and a Stone Age pager, I had a pager on my hip that was this big, and they're texting you, paging you 911, 911, 911 all day long. Yeah, there was a bit of pressure involved. So if you're editing picture packages under that kind of pressure, cursing these people, designing little voodoo dolls in your truck of these people that you can then destroy later, yeah, you get good at editing picture packages. Here's the other thing. Picture packages and photography, this isn't math class. There's no exact answer that you have to get down to a decimal point. I hated math. I'm mathematically illiterate. It's too specific for me. So if you look at this picture package or any other picture package we talk about and you say, I don't agree, that kid image should have been first, whatever it is, that's okay, as long as you have a basis for your argument. And this is true across the board in photography in general. This is true about publishing as well. Why did you use a 3-inch border on all your images? Oh, thanks for asking. I'll tell you exactly why I did it. Now, that person may not agree with why you did it, but at least you had a reason. So relax, enjoy the picture packages. There's going to be a bunch more of these because they're fun. I've already got 2 more of these lined up. We're going to do one with the same color palette throughout, starting with about 5 or 6 images and then realizing that some of them are not strategic in the sequence. You got to toss them. And then we're going to do a black and white one if I don't get blown away in the wind out here. So enjoy it. I'll be back.
We're sorry, the number you have reached is not in service. Please check the number or try your call again. This is a recording.